Well, will it stay or will it go? Okay, so let's break this down. The stay or go dilemma, that is. For items on your boat during a winter haulout in weather zones 5 through 7, that's us pretty much, preparing a vessel for months of inactivity in potentially freezing temperatures is critical to avoid damage and costly repairs, unpleasant surprises in the spring usually, and even pest infestations. The rule of thumb should always be, when in doubt, take it out. It's almost always safer to remove an item than to risk leaving it on board to face harsh winter conditions. Here's a complete look at various categories of items commonly found on boats and whether they should be removed before shrink wrapping or covering your boat for the winter. First, in the galley, food, drinks, and cleaning supplies. Almost everything goes, anything liquid pretty much. This is perhaps the most critical area requiring a thorough cleanout. Perishables and non-perishable foods. Absolutely everything must go. Think of exploding canned goods and processed food from ice. That's what it is. If you have a fridge, this is obvious. Remove all meat, dairy, produce, leftovers, etc., and clean the fridge and freezer thoroughly. Prop the door open to prevent mildew or funny smells in the spring. Baking soda boxes can help absorb residual smells, but of course you do have to open them. By the way, when it comes to mold control, check our video. It's up on your right, which I think is my left. Canned goods. Many assume canned goods are safe, but this is a mistake, especially in freezing climates. The liquid inside the can freezes, expands, and potentially bulges the can, breaking the seals, and sometimes it's not even visible, and allowing bacteria to get inside. Even if the can appears to be intact, freezing can ruin the texture and quality of the food inside. Furthermore, undetected spills or residual food odors attract pests, so remove all canned fruits, vegetables, soups, meats, and everything else. Remove dry goods like pasta, rice, flour, sugar, crackers, cereal, chips. While they won't freeze or burst, these items are magnets for moisture and pests. Cardboard boxes and plastic bags are not rodent-proof. Over a long winter, humidity fluctuates under the boat cover and can make these items damp, leading to mold or spoilage. Even sealed bags can attract determined rodents. They'll chew right through the packaging. So remove everything. Now, when it comes to spices and seasonings, these can absorb moisture and ambient odors, losing their potency and potentially clumping. While less critical than other foods, it's good practice to remove them and start fresh in the spring. Drinks. Liquids are highly susceptible to freezing damage. Water bottles and jugs. Plastic or glass bottles filled with water will freeze, expand, and burst, creating a potential large mess and coating surfaces nearby with ice. Remove all bottled water. Ensure fresh water tanks are lined properly and drained and winterized with non-toxic antifreeze. Now, when it comes to what you guys call sodas, we call soft drinks, and beer, maybe even wine. Like water, these will freeze, expand forcefully, and burst their containers. The sticky residue is difficult to clean, I know, especially once frozen and thawed, and many times over, probably. And they will also attract pests. Remove every last can and bottle. Juice bottles, same old issue with soda and water. Remove them. Wine, Freezing ruins wine, altering its flavor profile and potentially pushing out the corks or breaking the bottles. Remove all the wine. Red wine stains horribly. When it comes to wine, freezing ruins wine, altering its flavor profile and potentially pushing out corks or breaking the bottles. Remove all wine. But now, when it comes to liquor, and we're talking about hard alcohol, 40% plus, this is slightly nuanced, but the recommendation is removal. High-proof spirits, such as vodka, whiskey, rum, at 40% alcohol by volume, which is 80 proof or higher, have a low freezing point, typically about minus 25 degrees or minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit. While your boat's interior under the cover might not reach these extreme lows, even in a northern winter, it's not guaranteed. Lower proof liquors like cream-based liquors, drinks or aperitifs can freeze or turn slushy at less extreme temperatures. Furthermore, extreme cold cycles aren't ideal for flavor, and glass bottles can still experience thermal stress and potential cracking. There also is a risk of theft if valuable bottles are left aboard. So what's the verdict? Remove all alcohol. It's simply not worth the risk of breakage, mess, or potential degradation or theft. Now, when it comes to cleaning supplies, liquid dish soap, detergents, all-purpose cleaners, they're all water-based and will freeze, potentially cracking their plastic bottles, freezing the cans, also sometimes causes produce to separate or lose effectiveness. So just remove them. Powdered cleaners, less prone to freezing damage, but can absorb moisture and clump. And therefore it reduces its effectiveness. It's safer to remove specialty cleaners such as oven cleaners, stainless steel cleaner, etc. Check the labels anyway, but most liquids are aerosol cleaners, and they should be removed due to the freezing risk or potential propellant issues in extreme cold. So, easy thing, remove it. Cabin and comfort items, fabrics, toiletries, electronics, well, they mostly go. Moisture and pests are the primary enemy. Bedding, linens, towels, curtains must all go. Fabrics act like sponges, absorbing ambient moisture under the cover, and even if the boat feels dry, this inevitably leads to musty smells and worse, mold and mildew growth, which can be very difficult or impossible to remove completely. Pests also find bedding attractive for nesting. Bag them up and take them home for laundering and dry storage. Now, when it comes to clothing, it's the same thing as bedding. Remove all clothing items. Cushions, interior and cockpit cushions, strongly recommend to remove. The foam inside the cushions is highly susceptible to moisture absorption and mildew. Even vinyl-covered cockpit cushions can trap moisture underneath or along the seams, leading to mildew on the vinyl or lying underneath in the foam, which is even worse, of course. And underneath fiberglass, can't even see it. Rodents may also nest in them if removal is absolutely impossible, such as built-in settees. Prop them up on their edges to allow maximum air circulation around all sides. Use moisture-absorbing products, and that's essential. But removal is far superior protection. Now, when it comes to toiletries, liquids, shampoos, conditioners, lotions, liquid soaps, contact lens solutions, all these things will freeze, expand, or burst their containers, creating an incredible slimy mess and an expense. Remove everything. Toothpaste can freeze, separate, and become unusable. Bar soap. It might survive a freezing, but can become sticky, slimy with condensation and potentially, yes, really attract pests. Best to remove. Well, cosmetics, don't touch them myself, but temperature extremes can degrade makeup. Remove them. Medications like prescriptions or even over-the-counter stuff, take them out. Both heat and cold can degrade the chemical stability and effectiveness of most medications, including pills, liquids, ointments. Store them according to their package recommendations, which is avoid freezing. When it comes to books and magazines, paper charts, and any other type of paper, it readily absorbs moisture, which leads to warping and dog-earing, as well as musty smells and mildew. Remove any books or magazines that you value. Paper charts can often survive if stored flat and dry, perhaps in protective sleeves. But inspect carefully in the spring. Consider digital backups. Now, when it comes to portable electronics, handhelds, GPSs, tablets, laptops, phones, they must go. Extreme cold weather is detrimental to batteries, reducing their lifespan and charge capacity. LCD screens can be damaged by freezing temperatures. Condensation can form internally as temperatures fluctuate, and that leads to corrosion. Store all these valuable items ashore. Now, when it comes to fixed electronics, that stuff you can't really take out very easily, these are generally designed for the marine environment, which includes wider temperature tolerance. However, deep cold isn't ideal. They typically stay, but ensure power is disconnected via the breakers or battery switches unless needed for specific monitoring systems. Some owners with very expensive multifunctional displays, MFDs, choose to remove them for security and optimal storage conditions, but this can be complex depending on the installation. Now, when it comes to the head, and we're talking about the marine toilet, everything there mostly goes, obviously not the head. It's a very similar principle that applies to the galley. Toiletries should be removed. All liquids, soaps, shampoos, etc. All holding tank chemicals. Just check with the manufacturer's instructions, but some toilet chemicals or holding tank treatments are damaged by freezing. While others are formulated to tolerate cold, those enzyme ones aren't. Ensure the holding tank itself is properly emptied and winterized, typically by adding non-toxic antifreeze after a pump out. If you're unsure about the chemicals, just remove it. Toilet paper, remove all rolls. They also can absorb moisture and attract nesting pests. Just think about it. On the deck, safety and maintenance items, select the items. This category requires more judgment based on materials and function. Lines, dock lines, running rigging, and for sailboats, clean, dry lines can generally stay. Remove any salt, dirt, or grime as the salt attracts moisture. Coil them neatly to prevent tangles and store them out of pathways. Some sailors prefer to remove running rigging, such as halyards and sheets, to wash them, inspect them for chafes, and reduce windage wear over the winter, storing them ashore. Now, when it comes to fenders, they can stay. Clean them first. It's often recommended to deflate them slightly to about 10 or 15% atmosphere to allow for air contraction in the cold without putting stress on the seams. Now, when it comes to other safety gear, personal flotation devices, PFDs, life jackets, you may call them, it's highly recommended to remove them. While foam is closed cell, the fabric coverings can absorb moisture and develop mildew. Critters might also nest in them. Most importantly, storing them in a dry, climate-controlled environment really helps to ensure their longevity. Now, when it comes to flares, check the expiration date carefully. While short-term cold might not immediately ruin them, regulations require they be within date. Long-term storage in temperature extremes isn't ideal for pyrotechniques. Best practice, remove. Check for local regulations on storing pyrotechnics. Now, first aid kit must go. Everything there. Ointments, antiseptic wipes, adhesive bandages, liquid medications, they're all sensitive to freezing, temperature variations, or degradation. Take it home, review the contents, replace the expired items, and then take it back in the spring. Now, here's a strange one I never thought of before. Fire extinguishers. Check the type and conditions. Most dry chemical fire extinguishers are usually rated for a wide temperature range and should be okay to stay, but check just in case. Now, CO2 extinguishers are also generally fine. Foam extinguishers may freeze and become damaged. Regardless of the type, ensure that they are properly charged, inspected, and tagged according to local regulations. Some owners remove them for easy off-season inspection or service. Now, when it comes to cleaning tools, like the brushes, the buckets, etc., they can stay if they're clean and dry. Store buckets upside down to prevent water from collecting. Ensure wooden handles are dry. The grills of the barbecue, clean them meticulously to remove all traces of grease and food particles, which are major pest attractants. Remove propane tanks. They should be stored upright outdoors and away from structures or other ignition sources. Now, your fishing gear, rods, and reels are generally okay if clean and dry. Remove all bait, really, real or artificial, especially scented lures, as they may attract pests. Empty the tackle box, clean and dry them, as moisture can get trapped inside, causing hooks to rust. Store tackle ashore. It's often the best bet. Now, other maintenance products such as waxes, polishes, compounds, they are emulsions that will separate or change consistency when frozen, rendering them usually quite useless. Check labels. Most should be removed and stored above freezing. Now, when it comes to paints, varnishes, sealants, caulkings, they must go. Freezing almost always destroys latex paints and many marine sealants and caulks. Solvents in oil-based products can be affected and may rupture. Store these ashore in temperature-controlled conditions. Now, solvents such as acetone, mineral spirits, denatured alcohol generally have a low freezing point, but are flammable. Best practice is to remove them. Now, oils and lubricants such as engine oil, gear lube, fogging oil, generally okay in cold temperatures, but check specific product labels. Ensure containers are tightly sealed. Now, portable fuel tanks, either gasoline or diesel, must be removed. Gasoline degrades over time, and storing large amounts of fuel on a boat over winter increases the risk of fire, and of course it's degrading. Diesel can be prone to microbial growth, such as algae, if water is present in the container. Drain the tanks or use them up. If small amounts remain, add appropriate fuel stabilizer, store empty or near empty tanks safely ashore according to regulations. Now, when it comes to batteries, they require specific care. Either remove them fully charged or store in a cool but not freezing dry place, such as a basement, or maintain a charge with a trickle charger or periodic top-ups, or leave them aboard if fully charged and connected to a reliable shore power smart multi-stage battery charger designed for maintenance, or fully charged and completely disconnected. A discharged battery can freeze in Toronto winters, potentially cracking the case and destroying it. Never mind the mess. Now, when it comes to sails and canvas, the verdict is simple. Remove for longevity. Now, sails must be removed for many clubs and marinas, but leaving sails on board can expose them to UV degradation. Yes, even weak winter sun, it all adds up. Moisture, potential mildew, chafe from wind flap, and nesting pests. Take them ashore. Have them professionally cleaned and inspect, or do it yourself. Now, when it comes to the canvas, like Dodgers, Bimini's, or other covers, best practice is removal. Like sails, canvas does suffer from UV, moisture, mildew, and chafe, and insects. Snow can load or stretch the material or tear canvas, for instance. It's best to remove them, clean them, dry them thoroughly, and store them until the spring. So you ask, will there be anything left on this boat? The process of emptying your boat for winter might seem rather daunting, but it's an integral part of the responsibility of boat ownership, especially in a climate like ours. Take the time to remove items that are susceptible to freezing, moisture damage, pest infestation, or degradation of any type. It pays dividends. You protect your investment, avoid disgusting and potentially costly cleanups, usually in the spring, and ensure your safety gear remains reliable and make the spring commissioning process much smoother and more enjoyable. Now, before I go, remember that golden rule. If you have any hesitation about whether an item can safely endure months of cold, damp, and inactivity, take it home. Your future self will thank you when you return to a clean, dry, and undamaged boat next season. If in doubt, check it out. I'm Alan Stokel. Fair winds, my friends. Fair winds.